March was a fun month, especially with spring break. Hi, welcome to Schulte Sweetie's Homeschool YouTube channel. My name is Stephanie and I'm a mom of 3 girls ages 13, 9, and 7. So March was a really fun month because we did have some busyness, but we had a nice break and got to celebrate my husband's birthday. This is my monthly update for March. I like to do this each month and kind of go through some of the things that we are working on and changes and things like that, to kind of chronicle and share with you all what's been going on. So personally, we celebrated my husband's birthday early in the month, and also I found out that my daughter was going to be performing in an all-day thing a couple hours away, and they needed drivers, so I drove her to that. It was a fun activity for her for choir. It wasn't required, but she volunteered to do this, so we had that. We had our normal piano lessons, and then also, if you haven't seen this video, you can go back and look at it. My middle daughter, who is going into 5th grade next year, has kind of decided, and I mean we've been discussing it, she is interested in going to public school as well. So we took a tour of the school that she would go to, which is still out of district, same district as my oldest daughter goes to, just a different school because she would be in the intermediate school. So we took a tour of that, and it looks like it's gonna happen, but we still, I was a little uneasy because she has never ever been to public schools. I mean, the most she knows about it is probably from movies and TV shows. So, and her older sister. So we have now scheduled a shadowing day where she's gonna shadow a 5th grader, since she's going into 5th grade next year, and see kind of how their school day is and stuff like that. So I'm excited. And if you didn't know, our church, a lot of people in our church work at this school in particular, but a lot of the schools around, they work there. And so there's other kids that she knows from plays and from our church as well. So it's a little less scary for me, and to think about, I'm not as worried about her going with knowing all of that. So then we had spring break for my oldest daughter. So we took a spring break with my younger girls. I didn't want to do school at the same time as my oldest was on break because I just thought that would be too chaotic. And they all enjoyed the break. They loved being together. So for spring break, one of the first days we went to a museum. It has different adult type things, but they have some hands-on. They have a dinosaur exhibit and a neat space area. They have a kids section and all sorts of things. So we spent a couple hours there with my mom. And then another day we went to an Air Force museum. It's about an hour and a half from us. And that was really cool as well. It was huge and it was free and it was awesome, but we did not spend hours. We could have spent the entire day there. We only spent 3 hours there probably. But we really enjoyed that. We got to see a lot of airplanes, and it's worked out well because this is the unit that we have been working on, aviation. I kind of planned that. This is the Harbor and Sprout unit. I am going to do a video of some of the things that we've done with the aviation, and then we also did a science chunks motion and then read some cool books. So I'm going to do another video just on that, but I just wanted to say that field trip was really fun to kind of tie it all together. We had just been learning about the Wright brothers in the aviation book, and it was really cool. They really liked seeing some of the planes and things, and seeing all about the Wright brothers at the museum too. And then one of the days I also took my oldest daughter shopping because she has a semi-formal dance coming up for 8th grade. And so we spent the entire day shopping. It was crazy. We ended it with a sleepover with one of her friends, and went to the movies with some cousins and one of their grandmas. So we had a busy, full spring break, but it was also some relaxing, and I got some things done. I did not post videos it was kind of just a nice break for everybody. So we have not much else going on besides our typical, like I said, piano lessons. My oldest takes voice lessons. I'm back helping with Brief Share this spring at my church. And then, things here and there get scheduled. We have like a choir concert and everything else. So this was like a down month, but next month I look at my calendar and it is so chaotic. I don't know how I'm going to get things done except for what's in my planner. Pretty much it's like almost every day is something going on. I'm traveling a little bit for the public virtual school with helping with testing, and my middle daughter does have to do testing one of those weeks as well. So we have just a busy week, plus it's my middle daughter's birthday that next month too. So crazy times, and I'm excited. We've got it pretty much scheduled down to the minute next month. Moving on now into the curriculum that we've been doing and adding in, working through. Of course, I'm planning for next year. I had previously been planning for my middle daughter to be home with us next year, but she won't be likely with us. So I had already kind of started ordering some things for her next year. So we are kind of using a few of those resources. I felt like we should. So one of the things that I did order ahead of time was this paragraph writing. If you've seen some of my other videos, like we've just been struggling with writing and knowing what to do. I had planned for her to use this and then also Wordsmith Apprentice. Well, with her not being here, she won't be using the Wordsmith Apprentice, obviously. But we are starting this like paragraph writing. Right now, we're just kind of talking about topic sentences, and so far she likes that. She said she likes this. We did also kind of pick up a unit for, like, we used one of the units from Write Shop that we have for her to write a narrative and go through that, and she did not like that so much. But we got a narrative done, working through that. We are now working on some informational writing, and I'm trying to be creative with that. So along with this, I'm using this almost every day, kind of just going through, talking about different things. But we are kind of going off of the writing section in this Harbor and Sprout unit. I'm doing it loosely, but it kind of gave me some ideas. They talk about like just kind of doing like travel writing. So I remember this from years ago with my youngest. I had her write like a brochure for Peru, and it was like something we still remember. So we are using that kind of idea and kind of going through informational stuff and making brochures. I know brochures aren't like a normal thing anymore as much, but I thought it would be kind of fun for her. They do like to pick up brochures when we travel and stuff. So I had her and her younger sister choose which country they wanted to choose to travel to. I said it should be a country. Let's do an actual country so we can learn more about it. And so she at first decided Mexico, but then she was like, hey, let's do Czech Republic, because she has an uncle, cousin, and aunt that live there. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. And then my youngest chose France because she was interested in the Eiffel Tower and things. So I'm excited to do that. We've been kind of like researching, and I was like, do you want to call your uncle and get some more information? And she's like, yeah, that's more fun than searching on Google. And so she's already been doing that. She's been finding some pictures. So I'm excited for how that's going so far. She's, come up with questions that she wanted to ask and everything. So that is going really well. And then the other thing that I picked back up with her is this Language Smarts Level E. So this is grade 4. Obviously, we are not going to do all of it. We have done some of the reading comprehension in here, but there's so much in here. I was just kind of going through it like, what do I want her to focus on as she prepares to go to public school? And so in here, there's some different like synonym pages, anagrams, analogies, and things. And I was like, those things would be really helpful. There's all sorts of things in here. So I think I'm going to pick and choose some of these pages in here that I want her to focus on. As far as math, she's still working through level 4 of Apologia math. And looking ahead, I know that there's like key concepts that I want her to definitely get to. So I said, even if we don't finish this in our school year, which we only have, weeks left, we are going to continue it during the summer because I want you to finish all of these concepts so you know them before you go into 5th grade. So she was fine with that. She kind of is like pushes back sometimes with things. She is fine and good at math. She just doesn't always like it. But I was like, you've got to do these, like, you've got to learn these concepts and stuff. So I do like the approach with Apologia math. It's mastery, but it's still building, and she's still reviewing and things. I really like Apologia math. And then sometimes we use the mathematical reasoning that's similar to this. So I have her use that or some other resources for extra practice as well. So another thing that I was thinking about, all these things, like what do I want her to know how to do next year beforehand? And one of the things that I want to go through, I'm going to start reading this with her, is the care and keeping of you. I was like, I want to be the one talking about those health things with her. I want to be the first one talking about those health things with her before she goes into public school and hears different things. I want her to know ahead of time. So that is one thing. That's one of my priorities as well with her. Also, typing. We have been slacking with typing, and I know she's going to end up with a computer probably next year. And so my oldest kind of slacked with typing as well. She's doing fine with it, not necessarily on the right keys. I noticed that the other day, but she's pretty quick with it. So I'm going to kind of have that as more of a focus in our school day as well. So with my youngest, there has been in my mind like a battle of what phonics program are we going to use? Are we going to use All About Reading or Foundations Logic of English? And we used last year, and then toward the beginning of this school year, we've moved on to B for Logic of English. And it just got to be, I just didn't feel as comfortable with it because I wasn't as familiar. And it was building more, and I was like, I feel so much more comfortable with All About Reading. But I know that sometimes she doesn't like some of the things. She feels like, bored and everything else. So I was back and forth, and then I kind of went back this month and started just using this again, picking this back up from where we paused last year. I think it was lesson 24. So we were on 30, so we're not too much further because it does take a while to get through, especially those like pages with all the words, which we don't read all of them, but I really do pick out some that I want her to really work on. So we are going back through this now. And I had seen a video of Ashley from Gathered and Grounded about how they use the online version of Logic of English. And that really got me like, maybe she would really like this. And at first she was like, oh, there's games? That'll be fun. But I tried out one day and she was just like, when are we going to be done? And just very uninterested in it. And it reminded me of last fall when she did like an intensive online program. And she was just like, dreading it. So I was like, I don't think I need to focus on an online component right now with her. So we are just pretty much going to be done with Logic of English as of right now. I might keep them around just in case something goes wrong with All About Reading, but at this point I think we're just going to stick with All About Reading. I have all the levels about All About Reading from my middle daughter, so that's what we're going to do. So some of the things for her that sometimes each month I kind of like think about what do I need to really focus on with her. One of them is her handwriting. Sometimes she holds her pencil like this, and it drives me nuts. She knows that it drives me nuts. And she writes kind of sloppy. She colors sloppy most of the time. Every once in a while she'll color really good. And then she's also really struggling with irregular verb forms. And I didn't even realize that I needed to focus on this until I correct her constantly about the irregular forms, like throw the ball and threw the ball. Like she'd always say throwed the ball. And it drives me bonkers. And I'm like, so I need to focus on that. So I got 2 different resources from Teachers Pay Teachers. This one is handwriting automatically. This is very similar, I think, to handwriting without tears. But it kind of has like the dots and sentences. I don't know what it was that drew me to this over handwriting without tears, but I just liked it a little bit better. They have the dots for most of the things. Then they had, at one point they also had like little paperclip pictures in between where the words need to go and stuff to give them space. So I'm working on that with her, and I really got to thinking about like next year with what I want to do with handwriting. And I don't think I want to stick with the Good and the Beautiful, partly because I think I have her do it independently and I'm not necessarily sitting right there with her. So I mean, I could sit with her, but I picked up some of these for right now for the spring because I want her to start practicing writing. So these are this is like a word prompt. This is from Lucky Little Learners. I will link these things down below. These are like little prompts. They have actually different types of lines on different ones. They have the same prompt with different lines. So this one is life cycles. There's a whole bunch, like 20 of them. And so I found some of these from this company and from a lot of like Moffat Girls. There's a bunch of different like prompts like this that are very small, and then they get to draw something. So this is what I'm thinking of using this month into the spring for some extra little writing. Typically I would write for her, but I want her to practice it, and it's a good chance for her to learn when to capitalize things, when to put a period and spacing and all that, and working on handwriting. So we are going to work on that, and then we'll see how else that goes. And then the other thing that I found, these were just free things. I don't know if I will end up purchasing, but I got some irregular verb work. So I'm trying to go through that. She's pretty stubborn and doesn't want to change her ways, but we'll see. So then moving on into our group subjects, I kind of touched on this with like the aviation unit that we are doing. We are going to finish this up here hopefully pretty soon, but of course April, like I said, is kind of crazy. But I have a beekeeping unit after that, and I want to do that this spring. I even have like little things that they can make candles from, like the beeswax and stuff. So we have that. We did start this writing program, the fairy tale Princess and the Frog writing. We've started it. We've kind of put it on pause just because we were doing so much other stuff, but I think I'm going to pick it back up. I want them to work on that. I don't know. We'll do it this spring, summer. We'll see. So that's one of the things. I mentioned this in my Easter video. We are working through the Resurrection from Grapevine Studies. We are only a couple lessons in. It takes us a couple days to get some of the lessons done, but we are enjoying this. This has really helped us have some great conversations for Bible. I love that it's just reading the Bible and then drawing the pictures. There's not like a lot of extras to it. I love this, and we have had good discussions from that. We have also been doing the safety unit from the Good and the Beautiful. We are almost done with this. I think we're on lesson like 6 or 7. I think there's 10 lessons in here. This has also given us some great conversations about what things we need to do to prepare for being safe. So I've really enjoyed the conversations with them and just teaching them about safety. We've somewhat been working on this. We are just a few lessons in, but we're having fun with it. I'm not necessarily doing it to the exact measure of this, but we are going on some rabbit trails, creating some crafts on our own most of the time, and enjoying this. We're just kind of going through this. My plan after we finish this is to do state history for likely May. I think May, I don't know if it'll even take us that long. I don't know, a couple weeks of May is what we'll do for state history. And we read most of Little House on the Prairie, but then we were kind of like, it was dragging on for us. And so I was like, let's pick something else up. So we picked up Mr. Popper's Penguins and are enjoying this. We're going to watch the movie together afterward. I did get a unit, like a reading comprehension unit for a novel unit from Teachers Pay Teachers. I can't remember where this is. It doesn't even have it on here at this point. I don't know where it is in But it asks like reading comprehension questions and has vocabulary. Toward the back, it has some ideas of some like projects. So I printed both of these off thinking we'd answer all the questions like written down, but together we've just been going through each of the questions after a chapter and answering the questions, there's like some vocab down here. So going through that, they've been crafting penguins like constantly too. So, that's what we've been doing for this. I figured they don't have to sit down writing out things for the novel. After Mr. Popper's Penguins, we're going to start Light Comes to Shadow Mountain. This is a unit that we got from Ticket to Learning, and I'm so excited. It's going to be so fun and hands-on. But one thing I wanted to point out when we were kind of doing, I think it was actually our motion unit from Science Chunks, some books that we discovered, and we read one. It was about movement because we were doing the motion one from Science Chunks, and it was movement and like Jack and the Beanstalk. But we turned that one back in, but we got some of the other ones. These are science books created like kind of in fairy tale form. This one's What's That Sound, Cinderella, and this is about the fairy tale physics of sound. Keep It Simple, Rapunzel, about simple machines. And then What's the Matter with the Three Little Pigs? And this is like a physics of matter storybook as well. And they're just really fun. They add in a lot about those topics. So we really enjoyed the motion one, and so the movement one, and we are gonna check these out. We have to return these pretty soon from the library, but we have not read these yet. So we are going to be reading all three of these as just a kind of an extra because we enjoyed that. So that's what's been going on in our world. So like I said, we are going to do beekeeping and state history. And then we have soccer starting for my middle for spring soccer. It's only 6 weeks, thankfully. My daughter is starting some auditions for some different things. I'm going to be traveling, and then we have testing. So we have a lot of going on next month, but I'm still hoping for a good month next month. So let me know down below how your March has gone, and if you have any other suggestions, especially for irregular verbs, I would love some suggestions on how to teach my youngest that. So I will talk to you later, and I hope you have a great day.